Welcome to Chapter 17 of Millennial Man, the 13th Floor. This chapter is called Moral Code. When I say moral code, what do I mean? We will take time to look at the definition of the two words that make up the terms according to American Heritage Dictionary. Moral, concerned with the judgment or instruction of goodness or badness of character and behavior. 2. Conforming to established standard of good behavior. Code, a systematic, comprehensive collection of laws or rules. The term moral code is important to the millennial man because it involves good behavior, a good standard or rule of law established by and agreed upon for our society. Every man should be trained in and aware of moral code, especially anyone involved in any type of leadership in our nation. Each man should be aware of and in agreement with a certain rule or law in order to be of a united mindset, everyone. Anyone who cannot come to agreement with the principles of morality established need not be involved in the leading of our nation and should not be allowed to sow division by perverse ideas and laws. Early in American history, the issue of morality was easily agreed upon by those in the colonies for multiple reasons. One reason was the number of people in the original 13 colonies was significantly lower than now, and not so diverse in culture and belief systems. I perceived that this made it easier to agree on a moral standard. Most people had some belief in God. Not all people were Christians, but most were at that time. All faiths have some sort of moral code, and usually all people understand the need for a standard moral code to maintain order. Most people had some belief in God. Not all people were Christians, but most were at that time. I already said that. A majority of people were aware of what it was like to live under an oppressive regime, monarchy, or dictatorship. Hence, they wanted to continue enjoying the benefits of living in America free and in order. To agree on a moral code, though they had differences, was asking little, and of course essential to this new governing and for surviving this new land. The men who designed the free system, declared independence, fought the British, and educated the people knew the necessity and acted on the need by agreeing to a common law. Moral code, and one that was beneficial to and agreed upon by most people. People in America today have no idea what life under dictatorship, monarchy, or communism is really like. They have become loose in holding each other to the standard of moral code, and they are often found speaking on issues they don't understand. Now we as a nation face a serious problem. There are many factors to the problem. The purpose of this chapter and the book as a whole is to get men to take a look at and address the problem. At the very least, make the problems known and bring it to the forefront of our people's mind and inspire the millennial man to care, consider, and to act. We have a very populated country. There are 300 million plus people from every nation, race, religion here in America. How to remain united and free is a very, very serious issue for every millennial man to consider. Without an agreed upon standard, there is confusion and conflict. For example, our money system and a system of weight and balance all have to agree to abide by these set standards to maintain commerce, unity, and peace. We have powerful groups of people in this world and in this nation who have ideas of how the world should be educated and controlled. Unfortunately, for freedom and liberty lovers, one of these groups of powerful people think it necessary to decrease and even destroy our freedom and liberty to further their ideas of what is best for the world. Some claim this is a conspiracy theory, but it can be proven easily with a little research. A lot of these people are in our leadership, and they take advantage of our number and our diversity in order to cause, not solve, the problems of division. Where there is division, there is chaos and weakness. I personally am on the side of unity, order, preserving freedom and liberty, and remaining a beacon to the world. How to retain our freedom and stay united, overcoming the obstacles of division within such a numerous and diverse population. That is what we need to answer. The only way to accomplish unity is to agree on a certain moral code, find common ground among the people and their leaders, and teach morality to our youth. We must not waver from morality. We have stood idle while immoral people gain voice and influence, seats of leadership, and teaching positions to our own demise as a united and moral society. We as a nation must focus on what we can agree upon, not what we don't agree on. I will list a few truths that should be universally agreed upon by any civilized and just leader, no matter country, creed, or religious faith. 1. A man should be an involved teacher to his children, especially the boys, and to the fatherless children, the women also to the daughters. 2. In a functional group or tribe, all people have a duty and a purpose in order to make life smooth and orderly. Everyone works and participates, if able-bodied. 3. Nature teaches the proper place for sexual relationships. Sex is to procreate and for responsible pleasure. It is to be respected. To deviate from the natural order of sex is to defy order. Man should be with a woman both of consent and accountable age. A man should not be with a beast, a child, or another man to fulfill his need for pleasure or any other need. To do so is to defy order. All three are equally a perversion of the natural order of the world and will result in curses, chaos, division, and unhappiness. Children should be cherished, instructed, and disciplined. Without all three, children are made emotionally and psychologically crippled or handicapped. Anyone who deviates from established moral code should be ashamed, and ashamed of themselves. They surely shouldn't be telling people who are moral and who do stick to the moral code how to live and what to believe is okay. I have listed 4 moral codes that any civilized, honest people who can admit truth should agree upon. We as millennial men must see that our people hold fast to moral code, draw hard lines, stick to them, and demand such from our leaders. The thought that we as a nation and a people may end up like other failed and divided countries is a scary thought. Why? Because all failed and divided countries are war-torn, and killing each other, having no regard for the life of anyone with opposing views politically or religiously. These lands are easily controlled and manipulated by global power structure to further their idea and agenda in a global chess game. This failure to unite leaves us weak and vulnerable to the point of hopelessness. America will become horribly divided and eventually war-torn if the millennial men continue to be distracted from or avoiding their God/natural given roles, which is a duty, as leaders addressing the issues of moral code. Moral code is the only way a diverse people can truly unite and bear the fruit of freedom and success. We must never get to the state where Americans go to war with one another again. We need to care for one another's well-being and safety. This promotes unity and prosperity and will allow us to maintain freedom and liberty. Our society has become distracted from important issues and lazy in enforcing set laws of morality, ignoring or losing sight of the moral code and the common law of our founding. What this causes is the ability of a small faction to influence what becomes acceptable or legal for the majority. Some use the word freedom to push perverse ideas and to try change the accepted moral code. The number of people that think homosexual marriage should be legal is actually quite small per capita. To allow a perverted idea of sex to be pushed by non-leaders in the court of media in order to make laws is ridiculous. What people choose to do is their own business. Everyone must live and die and answer for their own soul. But don't be so foolish to think you can push immorality into a system that thrives on moral code and think everything will be fine. Immorality will and is having a negative impact on our whole system of freedom and order. I sincerely hope this makes sense. This is one definition of hard truth. Immorality equals destruction of families, equals divided and weak communities, equals system harm, equals freedom stands in jeopardy. When our system of freedom is harmed, this is bad for all. Even those immoral people who push perversion. A lot of New Age people are trying to make socialist or communist systems seem better than what what we currently enjoy under our free system. They use this and any other destructive ideas to sow division among our people, society as a whole, and the government. They are ignoring and even trying to hide documented history and the known abuses and chaos these systems breed. Any leadership that must use deception and keeps truth hidden should not be allowed to exist, let alone lead a free and United States of America. Millennial men, freedom is not an evil word or concept. We need freedom to speak, freedom to worship, freedom to hold our leaders accountable, freedom to teach truth and morality, freedom to be men and women, and freedom to grow and progress in the free market according to how hard we work and how much effort we put in. Millennial men, it is our duty to know and trust what our children are being taught and subjected to in public schools and anywhere they spend time. We too often don't realize they are being taught foolishness and are also undergoing various abuses. The value of hard work and dedication to a difficult goal or task is too often forgotten about and not taught. To find the path of least resistance does have some benefits, but not in all situations, and it should not be taught to our youth as the best means to an end. Our youth need to know that life does not always give us what we want and how we want it. Every young soul needs to be taught the value and of the greatness of hard work and feel the euphoria of completing difficult tasks. These are examples of truth found in good moral code. We are not catching physical, sexual, and psychological abuses and neglect nearly enough in our society and our homes. As a result of this, the psychology of our nation as a whole is greatly harmed. Think about all the ignorance, addiction, neglect, apathy, suicide, mass shootings, fatherless, disregard for morals. What is the real cause of all these things? The challenges we face are immense as we work on viable solutions to our problem as a society. In all of history, men lead the difficult charge, not women and children. Although women and children are precious and vital for our functioning as a united and free society, they are not the ones who have been failing to do their duties and will be able to help fix the problems we have. This is our duty as millennial men. Do not allow reality to be clouded or shrouded by distraction, ignorance, or fear. It is far more rewarding for people to have strong moral leaders than leaders who are weak and make every decision out of fear or with deceptive intent to the point they allow perversions of morality to abound more and more. Any close look at history will prove that whatever nations or people allowed morality to slip away ended up suffering and were often destroyed. To the opposite, any nation of morality and real justice always prospers. It will be lack of these principles that will cause us to fall. This book, Millennial Man, is an attempt to get the attention of all men, a warning to all men. If we continue to not address this issue of moral code, and we continue to disregard the natural order of our created universe, we as a nation and as a people will suffer great consequences, paying prices in our near future of chaos, destruction, and heartache at the hand of our Creator. Most of our leaders know the dangers we face, and our leaders know all about the previous failures of mankind and the end result. Most leaders know history well, and to see their blatant disregard for truth and to see our men's failures to lead and get involved is quite alarming. It should be evident to millennial men that we have been failing to do our jobs and our duties properly, which means we are failing our people, our community, and families. I perceive it as quite evident that we, the people, can no longer avoid our duty, allowing corrupt and perverse leadership to dictate the path of our future as a united and free nation. If we do, it will affect the future of our homes, community, and entire country. Men, if we fail to lead properly and our leadership fails to lead properly, where does that leave us? Any leader that in fear of persecution refuses to defend freedom and morality with their life is not a true leader and does not deserve his position as a leader. Millennial men, it is our duty to stand accountable as the heads of our homes and our communities and to hold our local and state authorities accountable. We can no longer allow fear, distraction, and selfishness to blind us from our duty. Moral code and moral accountability should be our number one concern. Number two should be unity and battling divisive trends. These two priorities are of the greatest importance. Anyone who pays attention to the mainstream media will hear how racial tensions have never been higher. This is a lie used to fuel division and keep people from feeling hopeless. Corruption of reality keeps blacks and whites from uniting in power to take control of leadership of our great America. We need to reverse this trend in the name of truth, justice, freedom, and morality. The number one tool used to stir division is to destroy our moral code. Millennial men, the number one tool to unite and retain freedom is to agree on moral code. Many great leaders have recognized and fought for solutions to similar problems we face today in our day and age. They recognize that a house divided cannot stand, neither can a nation divided. Of these great leaders were men like Jesus Christ, Abe Lincoln, and Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. These men led as our examples of true millennial men.